Many people have a picture of God as simply a vengeful, arbitrary, mean-spirited, genocidal God who commands the destruction of a whole people. And it's, as you read the scriptures, I mean, it is true that in the Old Testament, God does command his people to go and destroy these people. What people often miss, though, is the connection with judgment. It's not an arbitrary, just kind of clean out the Canaanites to make room for the Israelites. It's a matter of a consistent theme in Scripture that God judges sin. And if you go back to Genesis 15, you'll see that as God's talking to Abraham, he says, you can't go up to the promised land yet because the sin of the Amorite is not yet full. In other words, they don't deserve the judgment that they will ultimately get. Now, my point isn't to make this teaching easier. I mean, it's still something I struggle with, but I understand it better in terms of its connection in the whole Bible, because it's kind of like a preview of the final judgment, and it serves as a warning to later generations of what happens to gross immorality, that God does judge it, and it's kind of a precursor to the kind of description you read in the book of Revelation. So in one sense, in this case, I don't think this is a strange, shocking, surprising God. And if we were to create God in our own imagination, we probably wouldn't create this God. It's a difficult concept. But we should also realize that in the present time that we're living in, there's been this transformation from the Old Testament physical holy war to spiritual warfare. It's not that there's not warfare going on now, but we're directed in the New Testament to understand that it's focused on the powers and principalities, as Paul says in Ephesians 6:10 and following. Put on the whole armor of God, for our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the powers and principality of heaven. But it's all one connected narrative that culminates at the time of the consummation and the final judgment. And it's God's way of dealing with evil.